Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of Business Talks with Saakshi. And today we have with us Mr. Satanik Roy. And what more to tell about him? It's better if he shares his entrepreneurial journey with us and let us know as to how he started his journey as a young entrepreneur. So Satanik, all over to you, and I would like to hear your part of the story.
Thank you so much for having me over here today. I'm basically from Calcutta, all right? Not exactly from Calcutta, the outskirts of Calcutta, in a place called Howrah. And I have never seen someone in my family ever was into business, all right? Having said that, I have lived away from home since a very early age, from in hostels, etc., so on and so forth. My postgrads were from Stanford. I came back to India, and I believe that cultural difference. I believe that being in Bangalore for some time, I could see two young guys starting out of their flat and creating today what is a $36 billion company called Flipkart. Right? I could see that young lad back in those days, struggling, sleeping outside hotel rooms and created something called Oyo, right? I could see this person, this back then he was really thin. This person struggling for 10 years of his life to create something today, which is 21-year-old BTM, right? These were the amazing stories that were happening as I was growing up, and I realized, there's a potential. I mean, hundreds of startups fail, but the first wave of the startup journey is something that has to happen. Right? Today, with Shark Tank and everything coming in, I believe this is more going to be a common phenomenon. Today, a class 11 child knows what a term sheet is really amazing, right? But I believe that chance of the moment I was at growing up, reading these amazing stories. Your story was very common back then, even today. And Shraddha really put up the story so well, where she was almost creating, gods out of this no one people, right? And it was probably even bigger than cricketers. It was even bigger than, say, movie actors, because these people were driving the economy. These people were creating dents out there in the universe. These people were hustling day in and day out. These people were doing something amazing. Think about what Flipkart did. Why did Flipkart happen in India? The only reason e-commerce happened in India was Flipkart. Was Flipkart the first, or were there no competitors? Absolutely not. The only reason that e-commerce happened in India, because one thing that these two people did, started something called COD, cash on delivery, because India did not have credit card payments, digital payments, online payments back then, right? They started something called COD and took the market by storm, right? So it's not always massive innovations, but small decisions that make a huge impact. And I believe me being in the refurb industry, I could sense the opportunity, right? And today, sitting at what is happening around the universe in the refurb segment and in the segment of planet conservation, I really feel, it was a right decision to be into.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And as you said, it's small steps or small decisions that make you stand out differently. And that's I think that's something that you did with your startup to make it into not only now a startup, but like a scalable business model. So definitely, we'll talk more ahead on how you created a scalable model. But before that, coming down to the journey of ideation, because as you said, inception ideas, it's there with many people, but only a few come out. And out of that also only a few will move ahead to the next step. So what have been your challenges at the stage of inception?
See, as I firstly mentioned, I don't come from a business family, right? HyperXchange is actually my second startup. My first startup was something in the financial segment, which got acquired early. And to be very honest, I started a company, and these were the early days of Internshala, 2019, which were the internship, websites back then, right? And these were the early days for them as well, and they had the minimum scrutiny out there. Anyone could just go and put up internship offers over there. Today, they have a lot of regulations, etc. to figure out which are the true companies out there, if it's a valid company, etc. These were the early days even for them. And I started internship offers, and I was managing people from my dorm room across the country, right? But I did not realize to start a startup or say to start a business or something, you have to register it. Because I don't come from a, I don't even come from a finance, commerce background and so on and so forth. I had no idea, right? I was just 18 back then. So I think, the initial days, I would say, as all, there are hundreds of hustles or hundreds of challenges that has to happen. But somewhere or the other, a true entrepreneur always find their way. I believe in that. I mean, you can never create synthetic startups. You can never create entrepreneurs because you can give them ideas, etc. But in terms of execution, every day there will be millions of challenges. And as you scale, today probably when you are a 2-member team, the challenges are different. Today when you are a 200-member team, the challenges are even 100 times bigger, right? So you cannot drive someone from 0 to 1 and say, from 1 to 100 now you can scale, because that person can never scale, right? So that is what I believe in, and that was my journey as well.
Wow. So what were the steps that made you scale your business across locations? Because scaling your business across locations is something like, people take time to take that decision. And when they take that decision, there's a lot of things involved behind, like at the back end or the backstage that we say. So what led you to take that decision, and like how you're floating across locations?
Basically, currently we are operational in India, Dubai, US, and Europe. So while we realized, India is the biggest market out there in terms of, say, population, in terms of, say, internet reach, in terms of every other aspect, and probably, the labor cost in India is always the cheapest out there. No market can be as lucrative as India. Having said that, we realized we are actually in a different segment altogether. We are not in the manufacturing segment. We are actually in the remanufacturing segment. So while remanufacturing has to happen in India, right, because of the cheap labor cost, right? On the other side, while we speak about the planet, I mean, in India, it is not yet a far cry issue yet, right? So we realized Europe has to be our prime market, because you could just see COP26 happened some months back. Even our prime minister was there. So environment over Europe and US are I would say, in a more matured way, and they realize the issues and the effects around it, right? And any day, US is always a mature market to be at, right? Your margins are really, really high. So that is the reason we diversified. Coming back from Stanford, I had my connections over there in US, so that helped me out a lot. In Europe, basically, Surgeon General of Scotland hosted and honored us for our innovations, etc. So we had that government channel out there to get into Europe altogether. That's how it happened.
Wow. So I guess it would have been one step, many steps from your side and then one step from their side, where they could actually accept your ideas and accept the business model that you want to really bring forward, not only in terms of taking it as a business model, but something where you are helping environment, where you're helping planet Earth. So that's a fantastic job that you're doing, Satanik, and your team definitely involved into it. So talking further, we know that you have been going through rounds of funding as a startup, and then you could finally receive it. So what was the journey all about there?
I think before I received my first funding, I was probably rejected by over 500 investors at least. I mean, I don't have a count, but at least, all right, including Ratan Tata. Having said that, it's always a journey. I mean, often I realize now after all these years that often when we start something, we realize the next day we need funds and we seek funding, right? But end of the day, many of us, fail to realize what will we do with the money. Today, say for example, someone who does not have any idea about say operational cost, about say HR, about say what is the cost of acquiring a customer, what will he do with a crore? I mean, what will he do actually, right? You'd feel, I'll probably put 40% of my money towards say hiring, 50% towards say marketing, 10% this, that, whatsoever. But end of the day, unit economics has to be realized. For every dollar you make, how much are you spending all across? And this cannot be taught in MBA classes or anything. I mean, these are in Excel sheets out there. You have to realize when you scale, you might plan, probably I'll have my next funding in, say, in 3 months from now. So I plan my expenses accordingly. You'll always realize by the end of the third month, you might not receive your funding at all. It might go up, say, 6 months, 7 months more, right? And will you stop investing in that case? No, you cannot even stop the scale that is happening today. So these adversities are something you go through over cycles and cycles and cycles. Only then someone who is probably putting their money bets on you, right? And I always say this, before raising capital, how much money have you bought yourself into it? Because unless you believe in it, unless you have mortgaged your home, unless you have, say, liquidated all your LCs, unless you have liquidated all your bonds, LICs, whatsoever, if you have not put till your last penny out there, you don't believe in it. And unless you believe in it, why will someone else believe in your idea, right? That's the thought process about me from my side in terms of investments, etc.
Wow, that's an amazing thought process, and that tells us, like, whatever you do reflects in your balance sheets, we say, or in easy language, we say the Excel sheets out there. Yes. So definitely, like, whatever we have, until the time you don't believe in your own concept, how will you make others believe in your concept? That's exactly. Like where the originality lies whenever anyone wants to pitch for funds, or, like, go towards funding or pitch the investors. So coming on to another level where, like, pandemic is something that the world saw and businesses saw it. The impact was there not only in our personal lives, but the professional lives hugely. And we continue with that, the ripple effects of that as and now, here and there. So how did it impacted your business, and, like, what was it on the positive side or on the negative side?
See, definitely on the positive side, because in the industry scaled massively. All right, but having said that, if you look at that on a micro level, but at a macro level, say any businesses, most of the businesses has either evolved or shut down, right? So I think at a macro level, each and every business over that period of time, it was not pandemic. Many of the cases, I'll be an example myself. There has been many different ideas we started with, and there's probably completely something different we are doing today. Because at every point we have to pivot. This is a service we started, probably the customers did not like it. Everyone said this is not going to work out. Fine, probably moving on to the next. Okay, how about this service? Now probably say for example, with another something else, right? Or apart from doing this, how can we do the same thing? Reach the same point, but not doing this way, we're doing that way, right? Am I able to create enough customer satisfaction, say enough demand for that? So it has always been new pivots at every point, and I believe even down the line, we all of us will pivot into new different things altogether, right? Today, probably if you're walking down the stairs and realize, this part of the stairs is broken, tomorrow by nature you will move towards the other part of the stair, right? We pivot to a new thing. We realize over time. So I think pandemic has definitely set things to a different extent altogether overnight. But it was always new pivots at every point of time, and every businesses have pivoted somewhere or the other due to pandemic.
That's right. And to all the viewers who are watching this video today, as you know, like, we have talked to various entrepreneurs, and everyone has a different insight on what the pandemic did to the businesses. But if you have seen one thing in common, everyone talks about it in a positive way, that yes, it was a point, it was a turning point, and we had to take a turn and we had to find a solution. So whatever the challenges be, I guess, like, for newbies, whoever is watching this video, in your entrepreneurship journey, you need to make it certain that you don't leave it, just take another route, and then surely, definitely, you will reach the goal where you want to reach. So thanks, Satanik, for this insightful talk. And moving forward, definitely we would like to know, what are the various services that you offer right now under HyperXchange?
Basically, HyperXchange is India's top brand for refurbished electronics. Currently number 1 in India and top 3 across the world. All right, and we sell refurbished devices, including mobile phones, laptops, tablets, accessories. There are experience stores out there across India, many of the places. You can just walk into any of them. You can probably walk into any retail counter out there, multi-brands, and find a device over there of HyperXchange, or you can just order online from any platform, including Amazon's and the Flipkart's of the world.
How do you look forward to expand in the next years to come? Like, what's your vision or way forward?
So currently we are expanding in a global way. All right. We are working even harder on our technology. All right. We are massively putting a lot of dollars over there in terms of our technology expansion, in terms of our brand expansion globally. If things suggest, we might rebrand HyperXchange as something else altogether on a global scale. But I think branding and technology are the two important aspects that has always been a top priority for us, and those are the things we are working on currently.
Wow. So branding being an important element of your business is what you say. That's so nice to hear. And moving forward, like as you have been into a journey where, you yourself were someone who started a business where you were young. So any advice for the young entrepreneurs or the solo entrepreneurs who are coming into the journey of being an entrepreneur?
I think, early age is the right time to start. All right. Because of the very fact, if you feel, once I get into a job, probably 10 years, 20 years down the line, I'll start something. It never happens, because when you're already into a job, you already have a certain lifestyle. So coming out of that lifestyle and starting from scratch and hustling is even greater difficult. All right. So at early stage, when you don't have any responsibilities and anything, right? I think that's really a good time to start. And it's always not that you have to succeed in everything you do. Try, you get enough experience that, even today, if HyperXchange fails, what happens, right? It might fail. I mean, Nokia failed, right? Will I go back to I can go back to a job, but if I go back to a job, will I negotiate for salaries? Like, I want, say 50 lakhs a year, or say 70 lakhs a year. Will I be negotiating that? No, because with my experience and with the scale of the revenues and everything we have built over this years, right? I know what is how to say manage operations. I know how to say create new channels of sales. I know how to go out there and appoint say offline distributors, retailers, and get those things done. I know how to calculate EBITDA at the end of the day. I know everything around what requests for a business. So I might go back to some other company and say, hey, you know what, this part of your business today is 100 crore business. Why don't I take this up, make this 1,000 crore in next, say 3 years, 5 years, whatever, but I want 200 crores out of it. That's the type of negotiation I will be having, right? It's okay to fail. But even if you fail, realize where will you be. Tomorrow, so many people lost their jobs and they're looking for new jobs. So many entrepreneurs failed. There are hundreds of other WhatsApp groups. I mean, being a Forbes 30 under 30, we have a 30 under 30 WhatsApp group with all the people out there. I have seen many of these startups which were, say, by people who were Forbes 30 under 30 in that level, have failed. They come back and say, hey, I just shut this down. I'm available. If you any of you think I can fit in, let me know. And immediately there's a response, hey, let's have a quick chat over coffee sometime, right? That's the difference. When you fail, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself fighting for looking for a job over social media, over LinkedIn? Or, you have those connects and referrals already built through your experience, but it's just another coffee.
That's a wonderful insight, Satanik. I mean, for any of the people, like even if you fail, I think that's the message to be taken today from this video, that even if you fail, you need to analyze yourself where you stand. Like, would you really want to go into a 9-to-5 job structure, or you would want to demand another level of, I would say, partnerships or acquisitions, like how you can work mutually rather than going for a job structure. So that's a really very nice insight. And I feel that every entrepreneur, like if you're feeling that I need a break, or I need to keep it aside for some time till the time I gain more knowledge, I think join someone as a partner, that's the best thing that you can do in today's day, so that you learn and you grow together. So I guess like Satnik, I'm really grateful for all the time that you have spent today with us, and thank you for being a part of this talk show. Me and my team at Mindynamics, we really wish success for HyperXchange for the years to come.
Thank you. All the best to you.
As a business owner, I have been through journeys of ups and downs. I have been through a journey where my physical health was not supporting my mental health, and that both started conflicting and it started affecting my business. I know many of you are in such situations. I know we are in such situations as a solo business entrepreneur where we get stuck at one place and we find it very difficult to move on. Fortunately, I had mentors in my life who supported me always and helped me at every stage of my business. I could get this, but I know many people don't get this all. I could relate to the concepts because I was from a corporate background, but I know the pains of the people who are not from a corporate background. They have never done jobs, but they start with a business model. Now, if you are someone who is a small business owner or who is a solo entrepreneur running the business solely, then I have something for you. Here is a book that I have curated specially for solo entrepreneurs and small business owners, where we bifurcate each strategic plan for your business in 10 chapters. After every chapter, we have a strategic plan, an action plan that helps you design the strategy for your business. And we have some motivational stories, some business secrets revealed by some of the top entrepreneurs who are successfully doing their business today. So we have my experience, my knowledge and expertise, and experiences and secrets from the topmost business owners who have created the topmost business models and they are running it successfully today. So to build your master plan to run a business in today's digital age, this is a must-buy book for you. If you want to buy, the process is simple. Right away, just click down in the description box, click on the link and grab your copy today.